Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and the Washington Commanders are expected to hire former Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson to an offensive role on this staff under Cliff Kingsbury. We're going to talk about it in today's video and why I don't think it's as bad as some people think. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video. Let me know down below in the comments if you like this move or not. It helps out the algorithm a ton. All right, so Jeremy Fowler reported this earlier that the Commanders are expected to hire Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson to a prominent offensive staff role. Was not necessarily expecting this today, or in general, but hey, I don't think it's as bad as some people think. I know he gets a lot of hate from Eagles fans and a lot of hate from even just NFL fans in general for how he ran the offense. But the thing is, he's not going to be the offensive coordinator here. He is not calling plays. He's here to coach, and he has done that well in terms of being able to develop quarterbacks, and we're likely bringing in a quarterback here at number 2, and he'll be able to help develop that guy. He has developed a lot of quarterbacks in the past that I will be going over, some that you probably already know, and some that you don't. And he was a quarterbacks coach with the Eagles, with Jalen Hurts for a while, and then last year got the offensive coordinator spot and definitely had some questionable decisions, some bad play calling, but their offense was still decent. Their defense was the much bigger problem, but he's out in Philly and he's here in Washington now, and I like this move as well because if he does well, and let's say Cliff Kingsbury does well and he gets a head coaching job, well then hey, maybe you can promote Brian Johnson to your offensive coordinator spot. Or if Brian Johnson does really, really well and people are hearing good things from him and he maybe gets a head coaching, I think he would have to be a coordinator again before he gets a head coaching job, but then we would get 2 third-round picks, which would be good because of the rule that the NFL has with minority coaches. If you have a minority coach and he leaves and he gets a head coaching job, you get 2 third-round picks, and same thing with front office guys. So that's just something to keep in mind as well if he gets poached, or if we just keep him as OC if Cliff Kingsbury gets poached and if he goes to another team. That's something to keep in mind as well. Let's go over his history. So was in Utah from 2010 to 2013, so 4 years. Not sure what quarterbacks they had at that time, but was quarterbacks coach, then offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, I believe. And then quarterbacks coach at Mississippi State, Dak Prescott there, so developed a guy there. Not sure how highly touted Dak was coming out of high school, but still got him drafted in the 4th round, and he was able to be a very good quarterback in this league. I know he gets a lot of hate, but still a good quarterback in this league. Then was at Houston for a year as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Not sure what happened there. Then he goes to Florida for 3 years as a quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach in 2020. Kyle Trask was their quarterback there for a few years. He got him drafted, I believe, in the 2nd round, late second, or it was either 2nd or 3rd round, but I believe it was 2nd. So did a good job there developing Kyle Trask, and then was the Eagles quarterbacks coach in 2021 and 2022, helped develop Jalen Hurts. So he's developed a bunch of different guys, and I think people need to realize, I saw someone tweet about it, just because someone isn't a good head coach doesn't mean they're not going to be a good, or that they can't be a good offensive coordinator. And just because someone's not a good offensive coordinator their first time around doesn't mean they can't be a good quarterbacks coach. And I think that's something to keep in mind with Cliff Kingsbury and also with Brian Johnson as well. Brian Johnson didn't have a great go at it in Philly. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. There's a reason why they hired a new offensive coordinator, I think Kellen Moore. So it didn't work out, but that doesn't mean he can't be a quarterback's coach, which he's done his whole career, and he's done a very good job at it. Through his, different stops, and I think he deserves props for that. So I do like this hire for sure. And, the Eagles offense was still 7th in yards, 8th in points. I would take that. Obviously, they have way, 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 way more talent than us on offense. They do, but also, it's not like he did terrible. There's some coordinators that hey, with that skill group would do worse than Brian Johnson did. Hopefully I don't slip up and say Ben Johnson, but I think it's a good move. I think it's a very good move, and there's not a lot of risk involved with it. Again, he's not calling plays. This is about these assistant coaches. It's about player development, and maybe they'll help a little bit in terms of scheming and stuff, but for the most part, it's about player development, and that's what Brian Johnson's going to come here to do. So he'll help out with Sam Howell, whether he's the backup or the starter, probably going to be the backup, but he'll help out develop him, and then also help with a guy like Drake May, Jaden Daniels, or hopefully Caleb Williams. I know people don't want him, but I personally do want him, and would be, certainly want him, would be very happy with Caleb Williams at 2, but that's not going to happen. He's going to go 1, and I don't think we're going to have a chance to get him at 1 because the Bears are going to probably take him. But if we do have a chance, we're going to have to trade up a lot to get him, which is something that, some people like, some people don't. You're going to have to give up a lot, though. And if you think there's not much of a difference between Caleb and Drake or Caleb and Jaden, then there's no reason to give up, that big of a haul to go up and get him. So that's just something to consider. So that is kind of the big news of the day. The Commanders also hired some other guys as well to, they're trying to complete their staff on defense. They hired someone, Cowboys blocked a couple of their requests for guys that they've, requested to interview, like Al Harris, and I think their offensive line coach. Understandable, you're going to block someone, a division rival. That's totally understandable. And even non-division rivals, sometimes they block. So I'm not mad with that. And I think that, this is a good staff so far. Dan Quinn's a solid coach. You got Cliff Kingsbury, who I'm a fan of. Joe Witt, I don't know really what to think about, of him, but going to do some more research, but I think he'll be fine. And then you got Brian Johnson. They got a good guy from the Raiders, too, to be their passing game coordinator. We'll probably make a separate video about that. And yeah, so that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.